Hey everybody, I'm in Waldo, Ohio. I know some of you are thinking, where's Waldo? I'll show you, either there or there. I'm doing the hot tamale ride today. It's 41 miles, several options. I took the 41 mile option, which fits with where I was last week on the Mid-Ohio Century. And thanks for coming along. Let's go. So the ride started in Waldo, it finished in Waldo. The 41 mile option was essentially a loop. You went out one direction of Waldo, you came back in the other direction of Waldo. I only know Waldo because of this place right here, GNR Tavern, I think is the name of it. They serve a bologna sandwich. I remember my dad talking about it and my dad stopping there. I considered stopping after the ride, but that place was absolutely packed. So I rode with this couple for a while. They were an interesting pair. They were on e-bikes. I don't really understand my e-bikes yet. I have to figure that out. There are different classes. I know somebody later on passes me on an e-bike and makes me feel bad about myself. But he needed an e-bike to keep riding. If I understand it, she was only going to ride if she got to use an e-bike. So that worked out for them. They did the 25 mile option, or they were planning to do the 25 mile option because they had some arrangements in the afternoon. That was a great choice. I wish I had only done the 25 on this particular day. And this is why. You can take a look at the road right now. Rain has moved through the area, and the forecast is calling for like a soaking rain in the afternoon. So these wet roads here are because of a storm that passed through earlier, or rain that passed through earlier. I saw it on my way up. I did not know what was to come. Lots of signs out here about a Route 23 bypass. Route 23, it runs clear through the state of Ohio and into adjacent states as well. 23 here, as it runs into Columbus, and actually in Delaware County, it starts hitting stoplights. There's been a lot of development, so it gets really busy. There's some talk of doing a super bypass or putting in a new 23 adjacent to the existing 23. People out here whose farms and homes would be impacted don't seem to be very happy about it. I guess I don't blame them. Hey, at least it's not a bike path. And that's a joke. But people get very upset about bike paths going through their property too, or adjacent to their property. Which honestly I don't get. In my mind, and this is probably just the cyclist's mind, a bike path adjacent to your property will increase the property values. Well, that's just me. Your opinion may vary. I guess it goes to how well it's maintained too. In Columbus, they're going to put a Linden bike path in. Linden is a kind of a dicey part of Columbus, and I can see just a whole lot of glass and no goods going on that bike path. So if I can find some articles on the 23 bypass or the Linden bike path, I'll put that in the description of the video below. Oh, this is really nice. Except I'm riding into those black clouds. Well, anything for content rather, short of lightning strikes. Now we've picked up a headwind too. Not a good sign. cool. I'm not really sure where I'm at this point in the ride. I went back and looked at Google and the route map. I still couldn't figure it out. I think I'm just off of Route 4. If you happen to know where this is, please let me know. I had assumed that's a former gravel pit off to my left. There's also one off to the right. In the foreground off to the left, there appears to be a really nice house. All right. Here I'm sharing the road with the goose. There's also a subdivision here off to the right, a newer subdivision. It looks like really nice quality homes. Alright, even with this camera, you can probably see the clouds building behind me. I can also hear thunder. Not... When I was younger, I used to think that I could outrun thunderstorms, and I'm not going to outrun this one, I don't think. So, another situation where I wish maybe I wasn't alone, but I got to start thinking about looking at my weather app and trying to find some shelter. I'm at about 27 miles. Should be doing about 41. With all my wandering around, it might end up being around 43. We'll see. It's cooling it down though, and that's a good thing. The rain doesn't bother me, which is what I thought I was going to be dealing with, but this seems to me to be something else. The thunder. That bothers me. You didn't even get wet. I'm impressed. So I definitely made some mistakes, and I was very thankful to find that cover when I did find that cover. I've went back and forth on how to handle this during the video. I've cut a lot of that experience out, and I think I'm going to make a separate video. And hopefully it's something that you'll watch and you can learn from. Definitely, I'm going to learn from that experience, and I'm really happy to finish this ride on my feet. I talked to people after the ride. There was a SAG wagon for support, and they actually had to pick up several people off the course. There were some trees that came down. It was not a good time to be riding. I'm sure glad it worked out for me. So I'm not quite sure what kind of e-bikes are here that are passing me, but I feel like they must have been going 35, 40 miles an hour. It was unfair. Made me feel bad about myself. So I don't really know what's going on with the audio at this portion. It sounds like my camera's underwater. It's almost been underwater several times, but bear with me. It is going to straighten itself out here in a little bit. So this is actually just on the outskirts of Prospect. It's the Prospect Cemetery. It is a very large cemetery. Prospect, as I understand it, has a population of about 1,000. It's in a slight decline and has been since the 70s. But this is a really, really large cemetery. And apparently there's a really large tree in there. I guess if you know, you know. Trees aren't my thing, though, unless they're falling in front of me while I ride my bike. Rest stop, it was in Prospect, the village. Again, this was a fully supported ride. The ride I had the week before wasn't supported. I go back and forth on whether these tours are worth it. I think this tour cost $35, and if you kind of really add it up or you think about it, you know, maybe it's worth it just from a safety standpoint. You know, if I'd been caught out there on the route, I could have called somebody and they would have picked me up. There's also food. There's also a little bit of companionship or people to ride with. Again, I'm on the fence with respect to tours. They seem to be kind of expensive, particularly if you're going to do them once every week, but I don't know. It's something I'm going to continue to think about. Prospect, I would believe, is a farming community. They were famous in, I believe, the mid to late 1800s for mineral springs, whatever that is. I've never quite figured that out. So from Prospect back to Waldo is about 4 miles. I apologize for the caption. I was reading comments on YouTube once. I don't think it was even on my video, and somebody said they were tired of all the dad jokes in the commentary. Well, this is in the subtitles, Rose Fox 67, so I hope it doesn't bother you too much. So that's another one in the books. Hot tamale ride up in Waldo, definitely worth the ride. Great volunteers throughout, and I survived the storm, just barely. I survived the storm, which is going to be a great story. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Like, follow, share. See you next time.